Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and of course you guys are probably been knowing who I am. My name is Rika. I am a master healer for intertwined healing and therapy. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and give you guys a full introduction about myself. So obviously intertwined healing and therapy has been co-founded since 2022 of May. So my anniversary just completely passed. So thank you to all my day ones that have been here on my YouTube channel and also have been here with me throughout your healing journey. So I haven't been on YouTube by myself for a while, so you guys have been seeing some videos with the Like 40 series. I hope you guys are enjoying that. So I haven't done lesson 10 yet. I think the last thing that I did was lesson 9. And also you guys have been seeing some videos of my podcast partner, Paula Riorizo, and he's a MMA fighter, and he and I have created a podcast series called When All Things. So when all things are possible, when all things are manifested, the worst, the bad, and the ugly things that's in between. So those are some of the things that I have been working on in my projects regarding to the podcast YouTube lately. And also on top of that, I'm actually collaborating with some of the other healers as well to do a podcast series with two other healers, and it's going to be called the Soul Circle. So that's going to be very exciting for me in that journey. So it's been really quite busy for me, and also it's been really picking up at intertwined healing for me as well too. Like more and more people are starting to come in, joining the programs. And then also on top of that, my creative side is starting to awaken even more. So I actually just have a brand new program as well that I'm actually creating, and it pertains to a lot of people. And this is exactly the video that I'm actually broadcasting today, is regarding the anxious attachment and the avoidant, because there's just actually a revelation that I just actually that took place personally with me, because something happened to me not too long ago. I would say 2 months ago when I turned 40. There was like a breakthrough that happened, because I really don't know exactly what took place, but there was like a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of forgiveness. Let's just say this: a lot of good things did happen to me in those 2 months. I really had a great deal of forgiveness with my mother. I ended up forgiving my siblings as well too, and it turned out to be such a beautiful thing. But also in the midst of that, there was a lot of loss as well too. That was like really huge for me that took place. I'm starting to notice that I'm losing so many people that I used to be connected with, and all of a sudden I'm losing them in the process, and I don't know why. You know what I mean? I mean, I know why, but also I don't know why, if that makes sense. I'm just really trusting what God is trying to place in with me. So there's a lot of big transitions that's happening right now. There was particularly one that was like a really big, huge shift for me, and as you can tell, if you guys want to ask me privately on that one, I will be more than happy to share. But I'll just give you the hint. That's exactly what took place. And it was like a really huge shift for me. And it was like, right now, there's like a lot of uncertainties that will take place into that particular situation in my life. But I am trusting God into that. I am trusting Spirit. I'm trusting so many things that is happening into my life, even though it's so chaotic, even though it's like not making sense and I'm still questioning it. But I'm also not questioning it, if that makes sense. Like I just completely surrendered it. I'm no longer questioning of my connections with people. I'm no longer questioning exactly what's taking place in my life. I'm no longer questioning exactly who was meant to stay in my life. Like I'm not questioning that anymore, because it is what it is. Now I finally understand that term, it is what it is. If you do not know and you say that all the time, I'm going to just tell you right now, and coming from a place of truth, if you are not walking into the midst of challenges, you have not encountered the dark night of the soul, you have not encountered like the biggest, feel of grief and loss, we cannot actually say it is what it is. because it probably is not right now. But for me, I know what that term means. It is what it is. Now it is what it is. I let go of every outcomes and expectations in life. But it's so beautiful, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you exactly what that is. But for right now, I want to go ahead and dive in a little bit when it comes to the anxious attachment and the avoidant attachment behaviors. And I want to dive in deep into that because it's very, very interesting. And if you guys want to comment below what you guys think of that, it's been Mel Robbins actually talked about this. Tony Robbins talks about this, and I didn't even realize how common it was. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about a little bit more about my experience in regards to the anxious attachment and the avoidant attachment behavior styles. So let's dive deep a little bit with the anxious attachment style behavior, right? So I didn't realize this was a very common thing, and it's really more common with women. So women tend to have a lot of anxious attachment style behaviors. So if you have, if you guys were like me, I was, and you know what? I actually healed from that. Thank goodness, because I built that awareness already. Like, I'm aware of it. I got help from that. Like, and it made me have a breakthrough 2 months ago. Like, oh my God, I'm like this. Like, this is probably the reason why I'm so needing to have a relationship. When it's like, now I'm like, I really don't need it. It's like, now I really don't need it. Like, honestly, I really don't. I'm actually very content with myself, very peaceful with myself, and I love it. You know, I really, really love it. Like, I'm starting to get to know who I am. I crave alone time. I crave the aloneness. And a lot of people would probably think, in the normal sense of the world, oh my God, aren't you gonna be lonely and this, that, like. And this is what I tell them. I'm not dying, you guys. Seriously, like, I'm not dying. Like, why does everybody think being alone is such an issue? It's like, it's really not. When you're really completely secured with yourself, you shouldn't have to feel that aloneness. You shouldn't have to feel aloneness becoming being loneliness. I find it to be very peaceful and very reflective. Being alone doesn't mean that I'm dead or I don't get to enjoy things. I'm like, I actually do. So, and I'm actually enjoying the fact that I'm getting to know myself. Like, I'm starting to reflect on myself a little bit. And I'm craving that aloneness a lot more. And I'm okay with it. Like, truly, I am. I love the fact that whenever I have my alone time, it's actually really wonderful. Like, I get to hear spirit more, and I get to hear God more a little bit. And it's like a wonderful thing. Sorry, guys. Like, my camera's kind of like falling down. But, you know, that's some of the things that I've learned for sure. But if you are an anxious attachment, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys exactly what anxious attachment is and what it looks like, right? So for most women, more than likely, you guys have anxious attachment. Some men do actually have it. I actually did notice that. But for men, it's more of like the anxious avoidant attachment styles. But we'll get to that a little bit later. But right now, let's go ahead and dive in a little bit deeper with the anxious attachment styles. So I had to stop my camera real quick because I literally just burped. I don't know why, because there's going to be people that's going to be watching this, and this is going to be very interesting. So there's a lot of energies that's coming in, and I am actually feeling that. And I know some of you, some of my closest people are probably watching this as well too. And I can feel the energy. I'm like, my body is heating up as well too. I know why. I'm like, so I know why. It's okay. So what I'm saying is, regarding the anxious attachment style behavior, so the anxious attachment style behavior is stemming from a place of trauma. So it stems from childhood traumas, like feeling the abandonment, the neglect, and then also it really affects them into their adulthood, which is going to affect a lot of relationships, whether it's friendships, family members, or even like, you know, relationships with a man, woman, woman to woman, man to man. It's going to happen that way. And they don't even realize that they have that attachment behavior styles. So what anxious attachment looks like is, if you're feeling like you're going to get triggered by the, you know, people who says, I need personal space, anxious attachment will think like it's a rejection. There's this constant needs of like reassurance, like, oh my God, do you love me? Do you care about me? Or are you mad at me? Now that I look back, that's really annoying. I'm like, it's actually super annoying. I was like, what? I was like, and if I sounded like that to anybody, this is my former public apology. I am so sorry because I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that was a trauma response. So it really was. And I'm so glad I'm very, very aware of it, and I took grasp of it, and I gotten to know more on how to establish a little bit better into my secure attachment behavior. So it's getting there, so which is really good. And then also another thing too is that they lack boundaries, and they always tend to become codependent on people, codependent on relationships, codependent on even substances, to kind of regulate the emotions. And a lot of the times, like, you get a little clingy, you know what I mean? You get a little clingy, and that's a little scary. So I'm just kind of, I'm glad I wasn't like, too clingy. So I was like, no, none of that. But there is some clinginess that can happen because, again, that stems from childhood traumas, and that's the reason why it gets triggered. So that's one of the few things about the anxious attachment. Now, let's go ahead and dive in a little bit deeper with the avoidant attachment behaviors, because that's also something I've experienced as well too. Not particular with me, but with someone else that I know. Hopefully they're watching this, and this will be an educated, awareness to put in themselves, or maybe getting some help. Because, guys, just to let you know, authenticity comes with, it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to own up to, we're not all perfect. We are all hurt, all of us, and we all need help. And this is the reason why I became a healer, because, heal people, hurt people, hurt people. So this is exactly what I'm doing right now, is healing whoever needs to hear this. So let's go ahead and dive, now that we discovered the anxious attachment styles, let's go ahead and dive deep a little bit further with the avoidant attachment. Now that we talked about the anxious attachment, let's go ahead and talk about the avoidant attachment. So the avoidant can actually look like this. Like, the anxious attachment can actually be over giving, over loving, way over the top of like, I care about you. Not anymore for me, sorry. I'm all like, that's not going to happen. But their avoidant attachment is a little bit different. Now, some of you guys who seen an avoidant probably, said to yourself, you were confused about them, or you probably thought they were jerks, or you probably thought like, oh my God, like, they don't care about me, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, and I'm going to be here to tell you right now, avoidant attachments are not bad people. They are really not. They actually tend to love and actually have the biggest empathy for people. But the thing is about them, how they work in love and empathy is a little bit different from the anxious attachment. So the anxious attachment is overgiving. The avoidant, it is not. So what happens with the avoidant is, in the very beginning, they tend to, it may look like narcissism. It can actually be mistaken like that, but it's not. So avoidant attachments, what happens to them typically is they, in the very beginning of the relationship or even in a friendship, they tend to be like very loving people. Like, they come out as, of course, their true selves. Like, they're charming, they talk about themselves, like they get deep with you a little bit, and then, they open up their dreams, goals, whatever, right? They're very, very good people, and they are, genuinely. But as things starts getting real into the relationship, like when things starts getting more vulnerable, they are forced to be vulnerable, not forced, but like they're starting to like see like, oh my God, it's starting to become real to them. Like there's more intense love that's coming in, and there's like more intense connection and opening that comes up, and they know it's too, like, they think in their mind it's too good to be true. They're always looking for this red flag. They're always thinking that there's like this attachment that they have to owe them something. And that's when they tend to pull away. So for an anxious attachment, that's so confusing. But at the same time, I did not know that this happens, but they are actually, the reason why they retreat and they pull away is because they actually do care about that person a lot, and it scares the crap out of them. It scares them, and that is completely understandable for an avoidant, because it comes from childhood traumas as well too, unfortunately, because they've had parents that was very over criticizing them, over critical, very neglectful in their emotions and emotionally unavailable. So in time from their childhood and then they become an adult, they turn into become this avoidant attachment behavior where they become emotionally unavailable for somebody. They sabotage their own relationship and their own self relationship within their own soul, within their own minds. And then on top of that, they had lack of boundaries. They fear rejection, so they reject the other person first. And it's like, it leaves a lot of people so confused. Like, why did they do that? And sometimes they ghost. They really do. They tend to ghost. And I'm just kind of like, what? It leaves a lot of people so confused. And they're kind of like asking themselves, did I? And then that's when they start, especially if you're an anxious attachment, they start questioning themselves like, did I do something wrong? Was it me? Da, 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 da. I'm going to tell you right now to all my anxious attachments, it's not you. It's really not you. And even if you don't have anxious attachment, it's also, and you're secured, it's definitely not you. Avoidants have a little bit of a different symptoms versus the anxious attachment. Now, if you're looking for like that deep romance or the person who will always stick by your side, that will never leave you, go with somebody who has anxious attachment, because trust me, they're gonna love you forever. That was me. But I'm a very secure, detached person, so I'm not there anymore. Sorry, guys. I'm like, but I was very anxious attached, but I'm no longer there. But again, if you do want that, secured romance, fairy tale, whatever, go with the anxious attachment. By all means, go for it. Because if you guys cannot understand what true love means or unconditional love, I'm going to just tell you right now, if you go in and avoid it, you are not going to expect that fairy tale things that you want. Sorry, guys or ladies, not going to happen. So it's just better to just stay away from that. But if you're the type of person that's like very secured in yourself and you can handle an avoidant and you can handle being unconditionally loved with an avoidant, just be prepared that an avoidant wants a lot of space. That doesn't mean that they're rejecting you. They do actually crave space. They process things a little bit differently. So they like to be in separate rooms. They don't like too much closeness or intimacy. It scares the crap out of them. Even if they were to be in love for many, many years with this person or whatever, they are going to pull away. I don't know. I mean, it's not that I don't know. I know why. It's because, again, that's something that they're used to and they're really familiar with in their own family members. Unfortunately, they grew up with overcritical parents and parents that are like very strict. So this is the reason why they become an avoidant. It does get mistaken for narcissism a lot of the times with avoidance, but that's not really the case. So anxious and avoidant are actually very compatible partners from what they're from a lot of what professionals are saying, even including myself. And I have noticed that because avoidants do need that, but not to the point where you're like bombarding them with that love or bombarding them with that, intimacy. It's more of like the anxious attachment needs to understand to heal and become secured and needs to talk to the avoidant to the point where it kind of helps them like, what, I understand that you need that space. I understand where you're coming from, and give them that space to properly, process things. And when you do respect their space into that, they'll learn to trust and respect you as well. But you just have to kind of give it time and give them that love, and that's the kind of love that they're crave. It's so weird, but that's what they love. So you kind of have to really respect that. As for the anxious attachment, if you guys are with an anxious attachment, they're really easy, to be honest with you. They're really easy. You just have to give them that reassurance, like, I care about you, whatever. And this is very common than I thought. It's really, really common, especially for those who are going through a TF. But I don't want to say TF anymore because they sound romantic, but it's like a fairy tale thing, and that's not real. So I'm gonna call it the OS, which is the other self. This is very normal in the other self journey. Your other self. If you are a divine feminine, so when I say divine feminine, divine masculine, it's energy. It is not about gender, it's energy. So in this casing point, I am the divine feminine because I was the chaser. No more, sorry. I was like, no more, sorry. I'm like, I was the chaser, and then, my divine masculine is the divine masculine, he is the runner. So that's exactly what happens. That means that there is an anxious attachment and there's an avoidant attachment, and they are still the same soul, and that's one of the things I will say to everybody is that the soul never did separate it. Okay, so that whole union separation thing, please throw that in the garbage because it's completely crap. You were never separated in the first place. Your soul is just you. It's just you. So when you meet your other self, there is a lesson behind all of that. The other self actually is teaching you to become the better version of yourself. And that is exactly what happened to me in that encounter. Like the past how many years of my life, and then also the two months ago, that was when my full-blown awakening really did take place. I was already awakened spiritually, but this one was a full-blown awakening. And it really slapped me in the face because it showed me what lessons I needed to learn. And that's when I realized the attachment style behavior that I have, and also pertaining to my divine masculine. I was like, sorry to say, if you can hear this, too bad, so sad. You have an avoidant attachment, and I am in the anxious attachment. So, and this is one of the things that I had to realize and come to terms with, like, oh my God, that's something that I needed to understand, really research, and really take place into healing. And guess what? Now that I've gotten to know what it was, and I've gotten to talk to professionals about it, I finally formulated a coaching program that really, really will help other people out there that is going through the same thing in their relationship, of how to deal with avoidance and anxious attachment style behavior of their significant other. It is called the Anxious Avoidant Attachment Healing and Coaching Program. So that's going to be 5 weeks, along with the personal healing and coaching program combined. So the reason why I was able to snap out of my anxious attachment style energy, it's because, number one, I wasn't going to let that emotion take over me. No. You got me all messed up. Not happening. So I decided to go get this taken care of right off the bat. Got myself professional help. Got myself the education and placing awareness and understanding it with Mel Robbins, even Tony Robbins. I was really talking to a lot of different healers and therapists out there. Like, it really dawned to me how common this stuff was. I had no idea this was even a thing. I was so concentrated on the whole narcissism thing, I overlooked this behavior. Like, what? It's like, now I know. So I created that coaching program to help others out there who went through the same thing as I did. Personal experience wise, I went through that. Was it very cringy to find out that lesson the hard way? Absolutely. And that is something that I wanted to fix right off the bat. So thank goodness I know how to do the personal healing and coaching program. I applied that into my healing myself, fixing the mind and resetting it. And then also on top of that, learning to understand the avoidant and anxious attachment styles, and how to really regulate my emotions, and really regulate, how to really heal myself to becoming very secured. And since then, I just been feeling at such peace. Even my soul is such peace right now, because I've learned to really take the leap of faith, kind of like the things that I teach on my programs, and it really did help me a lot. And I am so, I can never take it back. I'm really grateful for the journey that I went through, and I'm actually very happy that I went through it, because now I get to help other people out there who's going through this themselves, and they don't have to feel left confused, or they don't have to feel like this anger towards another person, where like, why did this happen to me, whatever. You get to be in a place of understanding and compassion, and you don't have to lose your empathy or thinking empathy is weakness, or you can actually still build boundaries, and you don't have to feel like you're compromising your boundaries. You really don't. And that is something that I've actually learned with a lot of healing professionals, and I was really happy that I've gotten to know that. So I hope this video education about the anxious and avoidant attachment really helped you guys out. So let's go ahead and move on to my closure at this point of this video. I know I was rambling on, and you guys are probably like wondering, like, oh my God, I want to know more in regards to the anxious and avoidant attachments. So, I am going to be offering this coaching program, and I'm already starting the whole modular programs itself. So I'm already done with module 2, so I'm getting prepared with module 3, 4, and 5. So I will be announcing when that's going to be taking offer. So more than likely, I do have the personal healing and coaching program still available, very effective. Did it to myself when I was going through my roller coasters 2 months ago. And of course, still going through the major transition. It hasn't really changed. My connection, no longer questioning it. There's even some people in my life are disappearing, and that's okay too. Nothing personal. It's just part of the elevation and part of the growth of, my journey. So I'm okay with that. And there's actually some people who came back into my life where, shed light into my life, and then also, of course, placed in some healthy boundaries this time, rather than making it becoming the yes ma'am or being okay with it. Like, so if people tend from my past to come back into my life, they know I have boundaries now. So it's like, if you're gonna come back, you're gonna have to earn my trust back too. So that's how that works. But anyhow, if you guys want to enroll into the program, it's still very popular, the personal healing and coaching program. Go ahead and go to my website at www.intertwinedhealingandtherapy.com. Go to my scheduling appointments, and then I will go ahead and make sure to check that on my Calendly schedule software, making sure that you guys sign up. It's like $159 per session, but more than likely it's something that everybody needs for sure. And again, just think about that real quick. All right, I know I kind of messed up on my other clip a little bit there, because I thought I recorded something and I was like going like this and I was swiping, but more than likely I am a very truly genuine about that, where this situation with the anxious and avoidant attachment is like a very big thing, and I would love to heal people on that, to really understand the other side of the person, of what they're going through. Like, there's absolutely no judgment, and that's why I created that formula of the personal healing and coaching program. And then also on top of that, with the anxious avoidant healing and coaching program as well, to be part of that. It's like a 10-week session with me. So I would really recommend to really enroll into that, so that way you can give yourself some grace and forgiving yourself, and understanding that there is going to be a life at the end of the tunnel. There's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, basically. And you can build that secured attachment where you don't have to feel that anxiousness anymore, where you don't have to feel that avoidant feeling, where you fear intimacy or you fear closeness. Like, you don't have to feel that way anymore. I understand there's a lot of cruel things in the world, but you know what? Not everybody is like that. And if you're still fearing that as an avoidant, I understand, but also at the same time, you are only self-sabotaging yourself. You are the only one who is creating that into your life. Same thing for the anxious attachment. If you're getting anxious and you're craving way too much for a relationship or friendship, or having to be people around you, and you're not even embracing aloneness, then that's also a problem, because you're looking at aloneness as like, oh my god, I'm gonna be lonely or whatever. No, aloneness is absolutely peacefulness. And you know what? It gives you the time to reflect and really getting to know who you are. And I love every minute of it. So again, that's it for my video today. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a preview of what the anxious avoidant attachment healing and coaching program is going to look like. So those are some of the things that I incorporated in the teachings. So I can't wait, and looking forward to healing everybody around me, and being a part of the healing journey. So as I heal my clients, I also get to know myself as well. So that's even the best part of the healing journey. So again, thank you for being here. My day ones, all my subscribers have been here since day one for me, since 2022. Thank you so much for giving me that full support. And 3 years later, Intertwined Healing is going strong. I can't wait for what the future is stored. And I will see you guys again real soon. Be sure to subscribe and like and comment on this video if this resonated to you today. I would love to hear from you guys, so that way I can help you guys out individually. And also, don't forget to tune in all the time, every Fridays and Saturdays, whenever I get a chance to upload. Paulo and I are always on our YouTube channel, called the YouTube podcast channel. It's called When All Things. So when all things are manifested, possible, worst, good, and bad, and the ugly, but we will always be here, okay? So I will see you guys soon, and I hope to see you guys in person as well, aside from digital streaming. Alright guys, see you guys later. Have a wonderful week. Ciao, Bella.